So, this week, this conversation is happening as a result of counseling, which I've talked about in the vlog. So, one of the main reasons that I'm seeing counseling is to discuss coping mechanisms and strategies for sadness and dealing with sadness in a positive way, because that's not something that I've had to deal with for a long time to such a deep level. And actually, the past couple months, I haven't had a lot of it. But before that, it was pretty rough. I went through a very, very rough time for like a year and a half, and or maybe like 2 years. It didn't start out super rough and ended out being incredibly bad and very difficult, and just I was very, very sad in a bad way, in a really bad way. And I did pursue some negative coping mechanisms that I hadn't for quite some time. And then even when I wasn't doing that, it didn't feel much better. Like it was just a really bad place, which is why I decided to seek some counseling that I probably should have earlier. So anyway, I was kind of challenged with this thought for homework about why I give myself permission to be angry, but I don't give myself permission to be sad. So that is kind of the catalyst of why this conversation is happening. And I guess I'm going to start talking about it. It seems weird because there's like more to it than like a regular conversation. If like this fits into exactly what I would talk about in a conversation, but it just feels like there's this different agenda, or like because I didn't come up with the phrasing for that question or that challenge, that idea, that it's just like weird to me right now. So because it does feel like a homework assignment now all of a sudden when I'm talking. Anyway. Okay, so I give myself permission to be angry. That statement is definitely true. And why do I do that? So I was thinking about that. And so anger is a place that I've tried to get away from. This is the whole reason that I was feeling sad, is because to me, both anger and sadness are a product of pain. So anytime that I've been feeling angry, it's vast majority of the time, it's a product of pain. I feel hurt, but it's manifesting itself and expressing itself in anger. And I got very comfortable with that. So I feel like I need to go back and back and back and back and back to the beginning. So in high school, I definitely was very sad for years. I would say I was depressed, but not clinically depressed. But I definitely had, for years of my high school, like grades like 7 to 12, and it really started in earnest in probably grade 8, and started coming out of it probably in grade 12, I was just like very sad, and it sucked. There was a lot of things I was doing to cope with that I wasn't doing on purpose to cope with it. Like just certain things that were helping my anxiety as well that I just didn't even realize I had. And so things could have been a lot worse if I wasn't engaged in a lot of these other activities. But it was just very coincidental. So I had a lot of positive coping mechanisms back then. I had some negative ones too, but I was very sad. And towards the end of that, like grade 12, I kind of almost made a conscious choice to be angry instead of being sad, because being sad felt really not good. Whereas being angry, I felt like I could do something with. One of the things I was doing was I was going around town just like on walks. Like I would go out to like just the outskirts of town or whatever, just like take a walk with music and start screaming along to music. That was something that helped. I was doing a physical thing. I was outside. And also just like the aggression of the music and screaming along with that was a positive thing and a great coping mechanism for me. And it really helped. So I thought, if I channel this pain into anger instead of being sad, then like I can do something with that. I can get it out better. Because there were things I was doing that I was like still sad about. Like a lot of things didn't help. Again, things helped more than I thought. Looking back, like man, like, yeah, I just like, things helped so much. So I wonder where I would be without doing some of those things. But anyway, so I kind of made that conscious choice to do that. But over time, I stuck with that, and anger just kind of overtook what would be a balance of anger, sadness, whatever, and recognizing these things as pain. and anger kind of took over and was just like an immediate response and was like the go-to response, and it negatively impacted me, my relationships and people that were close to me, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good, and that was for years and years and years and years and years. In the past 5 years or so, I've really concentrated on working on my anger and impatience and frustration and aggression. I've been working on that very consciously, like I said, for about 5 years, and I felt like I made a lot of good, positive changes in there. One of those is recognizing that that's coming from a place of pain. So if I were having an argument with somebody, I could say that. I could say, like, that hurt me. That's why I'm feeling this way. And it's not really anger. Like, it's not like, why am I angry? I'm angry because I'm hurt, and so let's talk about the hurt. And then we don't have to necessarily express that through anger. I can just say that with words in a calmer way, without like fighting as much. So I've been very consciously working on that, and I feel like I have made great strides in that area and am much less angry than I used to be. And my immediate responses to things are not always with anger like they used to be. There's definitely still some things that are just like, not heavy things, but just like people driving like idiots and whatever else. And I'm trying also to like have my initial response just be a lot calmer and be like, hey, I don't know what's happening over there. Like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they're at emotionally, mentally, physically. Like, I don't know anything, right? So trying to be less judgmental, trying to have less quick snap reactions, and to just like take things slower, and recognize that I don't have all the information in order to make judgments, etc. So things have been getting better there. But that also, that recognition of things being painful and hurtful rather than just anger as its own thing, doesn't have a source of pain. When I come to that realization, it made way for sadness, because I'm trying to not be as angry and not react as quickly, and try to recognize, why am I actually feeling what I'm feeling? What am I actually feeling? What is the feeling that I'm feeling? So that allowed for sadness. It gave sadness an opportunity. And unfortunately, before I could kind of step into like sadness with baby steps, there were things and experiences that I had that really took advantage of the opportunity that I gave for sadness to be a thing. What I mean by that is that, like, I allowed an opportunity for sadness by not being as angry, and that in a healthy way, because I think being like having a balance of emotions is, I think, healthy. Like, you should be angry about some things. They're genuinely frustrating and can make you upset and whatever, and frustrate you, and just, yeah. There's a legitimacy to having a feeling of anger, but it's how you express it and what you do with it and how much of it you're feeling and all those things that you can somewhat control. Same thing with sadness. There should be a balance. But it kind of overcompensated and went the other way, because, like, I would not say I'm scared of anger, but I am cautious with feeling it, because I don't want to express it to other people in a way that I used to that was very negative. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to, I just don't want to have that. It's draining, Anger is draining. I mean, sadness is its own type of draining, but anger has it's draining. It's not who I want to be. It's disruptive to my life and other people's. So I would say I'm cautious about anger, and I definitely analyze my anger more than I did before. Whereas sadness, I am actively scared of, and this is something I've talked about. I'm scared of being sad. I was trying to express the thing about opportunity for sadness. So I'd left all this room for sadness, but it wasn't coming in baby steps so I could learn how to positively deal with it. It just came in like a very steady progression of things, and like, again, trying to work on my anger simultaneously. Like, there was things that were hurting me, and it was testing my abilities, and it was testing me, and I was actively being like, hey, just don't get mad about this, like, just try not to be angry, don't react this way, like, what are you feeling? and then whatever, and then it was just sad, 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 and it got pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed until it was just like really, really, really bad, and I didn't know how to deal with that, and thus the reason for seeing counseling, because being sad makes me anxious, and part of it making me anxious is because I don't know how to deal with it, and when I have felt those feelings of big sad, I feel doom, I feel horrible, I feel like it's never going to end, I don't know what to do with it. I am comfortable with anger. I give myself permission for anger because I am so familiar with it that it's not just the fact that I'm familiar with it and I just default to it because like it feels good or like it's comfortable. It's that it was really comfortable in a negative way. And I've learned what can happen when it overstays its welcome, when I allow it to be exacerbated, when I feed it. I know what can happen with that. I've seen the results of that. It's not good. I don't want it. And I've been comfortable in finding ways to positively channel it. I'm just comfortable with that because it's something that I've been dealing with for so long, whereas sadness is not something that I've been dealing with for a long time, and I don't know how to channel it positively. So this is going to kind of come to this place where, like, between my counselor and I, we realized I can make a quality product out of anger. And the first thing that I thought of was, like, creating a quality product out of anger for me was, like, art. Like, I can create visual art. I can do some writing, too, that's very spiteful, and it feels good to write it. And, again, I don't indulge it too much to where, like, I do it, I say what I have to say, and I get it out, and then and it's great. Like, and I feel like that just helps. And I don't get caught in a cycle with anger the way that I used to. It's just come to a place where it feels balanced. And again, I keep checking in on myself and being like, that thing, like, am I feeling, is it okay to feel angry right now? Like, is that healthy, that amount of anger for this long about the specific thing or whatever? So I definitely have more of an instinct and pattern for just checking in on that, and it's going well. So I'm comfortable with it. And I have quality products I feel like I can make, whether it be writing or if I was in a band again, that would be it. Well, that's writing too, but performing vocally, which is something I would like to pursue again. But also, like, I am very comfortable with making visual art that is fueled by my pain when it is labeled as anger. But I am not comfortable making visual art fueled by my pain that is labeled as sadness. It's not just that they're labeled differently, it's that they feel differently. When I am angry, I feel like I need to do something physical. It's a very visceral feeling. I could go out for a walk and scream. I could go for a bike ride. I could do a painting that is very physically, it can be a very physical painting, and they're like throwing stuff or just like using like heavy texture on materials or like scraping things, cutting into canvas. Or just I've made sculpture before with being really angry. Like, I know how to handle the paint when I'm angry. I know how to create art when I am angry. But I don't know how to do it when I'm sad. Part of it is because I don't have energy from sadness. Sadness takes energy away from me. That's the thing. It is subtractive, whereas anger is additive. And sadness, I feel it's really difficult to motivate. Like, I feel like it drains all my energy. So I have been trying over the past, like, I don't know how many months now, 4 or 5 months, when I recognize, like, wait a second, I can't make art when I'm sad, and I need to figure out a way to do that. And it's really hard, like visual art specifically. And that's the other thing, though, is, like, again, with this quality product thing, I'm comfortable with anger. I give myself permission to be angry because I feel like I can make a quality product out of that, including writing. So here's the other thing. With sadness, I was expressing, like, the only thing I could think of sometimes that made it better was expressing stuff in my stories on Instagram, and it got pretty cringy, and it got very real, and I got very vulnerable. But I say cringy, I mean, my anger is also real, but I feel like the context of, like, the quality of writing with anger for some reason was better, and I felt comfortable with that vulnerability, and I felt comfortable in the anger, and it felt good, and the words were biting and vicious. Whereas with sadness, it feels like this is even more vulnerable, and it's just about me, and it's not directed at anyone else necessarily, whereas the anger was, even though the source would be the same. Sometimes the source, if I want to make the source a person, the source of the anger and or sadness was the same person. The source was like the pain came from the same interaction or environment, relationship, individual, whatever. But again, it just like if I was responding to that pain with anger, if I felt angry about it, I could deal with that easy. It didn't last long. I knew what to do. It felt like there was a productive thing, a quality product. With sadness, there isn't, and it feels subtractive. It takes away my energy. So that quality product we've been talking about has been art. Again, writing I could do, but it felt sometimes like it was cringy, and I was like, this is just the realness right now, and I just have to say the realness, and it felt awkward and not comfortable, and I don't know if I got better with that or not. I think I got less sad was part of it, and I also managed. Again, I think that I was feeding into that loop. Just like with anger, I think that the sadness, I was feeding into a loop with that vulnerability and expressing that, and it wasn't helping. It was just perpetuating itself. Whereas, again, with anger, I could like say what I needed to say, and then it was just kind of out, and then it was gone, and it felt good, and that's it. And I was, I was moving on, and I was in a more neutral place. But with sadness, again, it felt not as quality in the words and the diction, and it also became a loop, and I was doing it too much. And I eventually dialed it back, so I wasn't doing it as much, and that helped. It helps to do it, but again, I had to find a balance. But also, the quality of the words of my sadness feel way less. They're not as good. It feels whiny. It feels part of it is just more vulnerable. And like I've said that I don't have a problem with vulnerability, but I guess I'm still sharing the vulnerability, but it's way more difficult when it is vulnerability through sadness. I'm just not, again, I don't know why, because this whole loop and circle is happening right now. I'm not comfortable with it because I feel like I'm not getting a quality product out of it. So visual art, again, like it is very hard. Sadness is my art block. Want to talk about art block? Sadness is my art block. It's really difficult for me to do anything when I am at a certain point of sad. I just don't know what to do with it. I feel like it just drains my energy, and it feels bad, and I don't know how to take those feelings that I'm feeling. I don't know how to take those and do something positive with them. And some people, so this is where, okay, here's another, before I get into the sitting with sadness thing. A quality product doesn't always have to be like legitimately like a product like of art or creativity. Because I think that if I were to go out and scream and walk, that's a quality product for my body that's like healthy, doing this physical exercise and getting this emotion out and connecting with art, I guess, in a way, as an audience, musically. But also, if I were to go for a bike ride when I was angry, if I were to do that, then that would be beneficial for my health, and it doesn't leave me with a product necessarily, except my body feels better, and it's a healthy pursuit, and it's active and good for my physical body. But with sadness, I can't really. I think I could try the walking thing more than the biking, but I just wanted to get that out of the way before the sitting in sadness thing, because some people have said that you just need to sit with your sadness, you just need to feel your sadness, and then you will allow it to pass. But it's really hard for me to feel it and let myself feel it because of the anxiety I feel when I start to feel a certain threshold of sadness. When it overcomes that, I get really overwhelmed, I don't know what to do, I freeze up, and I don't know what to do. And I feel like I made some connections here while talking about this, and I've forgotten them already, and so I need to go back and listen to this and then write them down or something. But yeah, I just get stuck in this loop. I don't know what to do, and I don't have energy to do it. So all I can think of is to sit in it, but sitting in it feels bad. I feel like I need to do something active. I have a hard time being passive. That is part of it. I have a hard time being passive. You need to. It doesn't feel like I'm doing something when I'm not doing anything, right? It's like if you are feeling a lot of pain and you just need to let time kind of just time will heal all wounds or whatever, and it's like that doesn't feel good. I want to be able to do something, but you just have to like. It's just like I recognize those long-term pains in a way that makes them easier to deal with because I'm like I just have to go day by day, just day by day, and it'll get easier. You won't notice when you get to a point where it's easier, but it will, and then you will reflect and be like, oh wow, it's easier right now. Like I feel better, and I don't feel the way I did a month ago or a week ago. But when it's like deep sadness in the moment, I definitely just freeze up, and I can't think. It doesn't feel like it's so overwhelming with anxiety. It does not feel like, oh, every breath. Well, I know that in a week it'll feel better, but it doesn't help the moment because I'm too overwhelmed. It's not like every breath it'll feel better. No, like I don't hyperventilate, but sometimes it feels like I can't breathe. Sometimes it just feels just so rotten. I don't know how to express it. It's funny because, like I said, I made some really strong connections here, and I've forgotten them, so I don't even know how to wrap this up. But again, the quality product thing, I just can't get past that I need to be able to be productive. I need to do something and have something to show for it. And like, if I were to be able to sit in sadness for 5 minutes and what I have to show for it is that I'm not sad anymore, then that would be enough. But I don't know how to do that. It just doesn't seem to work. So that's what I'm trying to find strategies for. This is why I don't give myself permission to be sad, because it feels horrible and like it's never going to end. And I know logically that it will, but in those moments of being overwhelmed with anxiety and sadness, the logic goes out the window, and I feel like I need a plan. I need to design a plan. I need a process. I need something I can fall back on that has steps that says when you feel this way, do this thing. It will help. You will feel better. I've done some writing when I've been sad, and it just hasn't seemed to have done a lot. I've done some, like, I guess that was writing too on Instagram, was sharing feelings, and that felt better for a little bit, and then not. But that is why I don't give myself permission to be sad, because I don't know how to deal with it yet. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. But now I have a better understanding of why, and the differences between my anger and sadness and the quality product thing. But I don't know how to wrap them up into bullet points here at the end because I honestly forgot what I just said. So I'm going to have to go back and listen to this. This is a weird one. But, okay. Well, I'm going to go. Like I said, I do feel like I got something out of it, but I need to go back and, like, write it down. Anyway, you will probably not have another I don't know. I actually have a counseling appointment today. So, we're going to talk about whatever it is I just learned that I need to go back and figure out. And, I don't know if, I'll get homework per se that will always be the catalyst of a conversation, but this time it seemed to work out nicely. And, yeah, I definitely will have something to say about this in the vlog. I just don't know if it'll be in a conversation. Anyway, that's it. See you at another time.